I expect.
There you go.
Okay, the Plan Commission meeting of April 28th is called to order. And the Plan Commission has not met since October of 2014, so it's nice to see you all, and happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year.
Back at you.
And with that, we'll proceed with roll call.
Mr. Foster?
Here.
Mr. Holman? Ms. Lazaris?
Here.
Mr. Lynch? Mr. Magnuson?
Here.
Mr. Schwark?
Here.
Mr. Pearson?
Here.
Okay. Item number 3, Plan Commission meeting minutes of October 28, correction and/or approval.
I'll make a motion to approve them as written.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. All right. And we'll proceed, actually, all those, that's fine. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against, same sign. The minutes pass. Okay. Right before we get started, I would like to announce that those of you here for the Mangan public hearing, that item is not ready for this evening. That will be renoticed, and we anticipate that the public hearing will be held in May. So for those here for the Mangan public hearing, there will be no public hearing this evening on that matter. And it will be noticed again. It will be renoticed.
It may or may not be ready for May because they were going to make changes.
Okay, and you heard the city attorney, it may or may not be ready for a public hearing in May. But when it is, you will receive notice again. And it's not ready this evening. Those of you here, we apologize for the inconvenience. Yes?
Is that the one spelled M-A-N-G-A-N?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The Rock Lake apartment, luxury apartments. So much for the crowd.
Wow.
Yeah, we knew that a lot of people would come for that.
So they're not being built yet then, is my understanding?
Still working out the
Permitting?
design.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the,
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of interest in upscale, like condos and stuff, but we don't have anything.
these are all neighbors though, they're
Oh, neighbor.
Yeah, the neighbors.
very good.
Yeah, they're the neighbors.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
Okay. All right, moving on to item number 4, questions and public comment. The public may address the commission at this time regarding items on the agenda unless the item is the subject of a public hearing. If your comments pertain to a public hearing, please hold your comments until the hearing. We now have left 2 public hearings this evening. Item number 5 is request by Lake Mills Property Management LLC to rezone property at 510 Owen Street from I-1 General Industrial to R312 Multifamily Residential. Item number 7 is request by Chapter 2 Incorporated to rezone a property at 305 South CP Avenue from I-1 General Industrial to Planned Industrial, PI Planned Industrial. Public comment may also be made at this time on items that are not on the agenda if you have registered with the city clerk before the meeting. The state's open meeting law discourages action by the commission on items not listed on the agenda. Please keep your comments limited to 3 minutes. State your name and address when starting your comments. Also fill out the sign-in sheet at the podium. Are there any public comments at this time? Okay. All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead with item number 5. Public hearing, zoning amendment request, Lake Mills Property Management LLC, General Industrial I-1 to Multifamily Residential R312, parcel 246-0713-1312-020, 510 Owen Street. In front of you, Plan Commissioners, you have Plan Commission Motion 1541. This motion sets forth the statutory authority for zoning in the state statutes, refers to the city zoning code, sets out the request to change the zoning from I-1 General Industrial to R312 Multifamily Residential at 510 Owen Street. Refers to the city review and to tonight's public hearing. Motion 1541 provides for a recommendation of approval by the Plan Commission to the City Council for the rezoning based on findings of fact and the requirements as noted in the planner's memo. This is the public hearing. Before I commence the public hearing, I would like to call on our consulting planner, Dustin Wolf, to present the request.
Thank you. Wow, it's been so long since I've spoken to you. Are we able to put the map up so people can see it? Do you have the? Just the public hearing map would be fine. We could put this up.
I have something to say about that. Should I set the audience?
Pardon?
Or can I do it from
That would be
here?
wonderful, just in case the public would like to see.
Do you want to do it during discussion?
Wait.
Are you conflicted with that? You want to set it out?
Should I excuse
Excuse
myself
myself.
and go out there? I should do that.
If you want
think
to
so.
testify as part of the public hearing, yes.
Okay, I'll go do it.
Okay, meantime, we'll proceed with Mr. Wolf's presentation of the request.
Betsy has put the public notice up there. It highlights the property in blue with the star on it. You're located on Owen Street, generally at the extensions of Fargo and Franklin Streets. The existing building has been used for a daycare, which is permitted in the, it's a typo, it should be in the industrial district. We've allowed daycares in the industrial district because it serves the purpose of supporting industrial development, businesses and such. It's our understanding that the petitioner wants to convert the use to something similar to apartments for the elderly with some limited care. This is a part of a state and county program. It's our understanding that,
Speaker, would you use the microphone, please?
is it not, is that better for you, Kenny? Sorry, my apologies. It's our understanding there'd be about 8 residents and a caregiver on a daily basis, social workers weekly, and the state nurse monthly. There would be meals served in a common area with laundry help and some other daily care issues, but not generally medical. This type of use is not permitted in the industrial districts, but it is permitted in the R3 multifamily district. The surrounding properties, if you're looking at the map up there, generally to the right and below the property proposed to be rezoned is zoned industrial. If you've been out there, you can see that there are industrial land uses on there, and some kind of neighborhood service type uses, auto repair and such. To the north, so across the way is generally residential of variety of types, duplexes, single family, and some park space. The key issue here is it seems like the proposed rezoning and activity would be incompatible with the adjacent land uses, meaning the industrial land uses, but the city has been preparing for a number of years, and that's, if you can put that on there, if you could rotate it, that'd be great. Oh, you're upside down. There we go. This is from an adopted plan in 2006. This is the redevelopment plan that the city has adopted for the Carpaco kind of area, redeveloping that area in the long term. But the city at that time has started planning for higher density residential, including senior housing in this area. Timing wasn't ripe in 2006 or, been till today for that, but now we're starting to see some of that come to fruition. So this is really the first request that has been, that we've fielded to rezone the lands, and I know it's a kind of reuse in existing building, but it is in keeping with the long-range plan, specifically the redevelopment plan, and the city's comprehensive plan illustrates the area for what we call mixed residential, which is a multifamily district. So the proposed rezoning is certainly compatible with the adopted long-range plans for the area. The trend of development in the area is one of the findings that we have to evaluate. There has been, in the neighborhood across the street, some recent development for some new assisted living facilities, so kind of senior housing in a sense, with medical care. The lands around it really haven't changed uses, meaning the industrial areas, in a long time. I think the most recent was Ryan's Auto, and that was probably in 2004, where it went from truly industrial to something that's akin to industrial, but really commercial or neighborhood serving. Other than that, there really hasn't been any change in land use activity out there. So this is really the first. But as I said, the city has been anticipating redevelopment of this site for quite some time. The short of it is the long-range plans do support this rezoning request. The staff is supportive of this rezoning request to accommodate the use. Ultimately, we need to start somewhere on redeveloping or reinvigorating this area. This is that first big step. The city has ample lands in its industrial park for additional industrial users. This was a historic industrial area, and it really isn't planned for that in the long term. So.
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Wolf. Is Dean Baldessari or a representative, oh, very good. Would you like to speak to the project, or do you have anything you would like to present at this time?
We're here for questions.
Okay, all right, very well, thank you. All right. All right, at this point, the public hearing is open, and if anyone has a public comment about this rezoning request, then please approach the podium and sign in, and then verbally state your name and address for the record.
My name's Ken Pearson. I am the owner, along with the bank, of the old Krapaco building that joins this property. We bought the property started in 1987 with keeping it as an industrial piece of ground. We cleaned up all the old 1910 building. We spent lots of money in getting rid of the asbestos, the PCBs, and clean it up. The last work that the DNR did on the grounds, the 6 acres that is the remaining of the original 22, is all clean ground. There's nothing in the ground to contaminate anything, which we're very happy for. But over the years, this grandioso plan up here was done after we purchased the property, and every couple of years the zoning gets hammered a little bit. It's just taken a little bit away. We used to be heavy industrial, then it got down to light, and now it's down to general, and now you're going to put it into multifamily. I feel I'm being pushed a little here by our city government, which I'm somewhat of a part of. If that's the plan and you want to push me into that, then I'm going to say, buy the building and do what you want with it. But in the meantime, I'd like to leave it the way it is. We're down to general, which limits what we can do in there. And we are 50% occupied. Got a call today on the other half, which could turn out and may not turn out, who knows. But anyway, I would like to see if they want to go in with a I understand the people own the building, they want something to do with it. Believe me, I understand that. I would just as soon see it go to a conditional use as to take the zoning away. Owen Street has been the demarcation line forever. And now we want to jump the street. It's like I say, I'm being squeezed every couple of years, they're squeezing us down. And I think we've gone far enough. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pearson. Does anyone else wish to speak to this requested rezoning?
I'm Paul Ostrowski. I live at 413 Fargo Street. Excuse me. And before, at the time when the microphone wasn't working, right before the terms of
I understand.
caregivers and things like that, I guess I'd like to hear that again. When your mic wasn't on.
I'm sorry.
It spoke to the type
Absolutely.
of inhabitants that were going to be there.
Certainly. It's been our understanding that it's going to switch from what was daycare to something akin to apartments for elderly to live in. This would be a part of the Care Wisconsin program in Jefferson County social workers. There would be, it's our understanding, 8 residents and a caregiver on a daily basis, social workers weekly, and a state nurse monthly to visit the site. They'll have meals served in a common area and then provide assistance with laundry and other daily care activities, but not medical.
Okay. The R312 designation, what does the 12 stand for?
The R3 is our multifamily district. The 12 is units per acre that would be allowed in multifamily, which has been akin to what the city has allowed historically in the multifamily districts.
So you're talking as many as 12 in that, and not necessarily 12, but as many as?
Well, that's, again, if it was a piece of land that somebody wanted to develop, they would be allowed to put, if it was a 1 acre piece of land, they would be allowed to put 12 dwelling units on it. But this, the request here is to reuse this building, this facility for apartments. It's the, under the current zoning, which is industrial, the current use that was permitted in there was daycare. Daycare centers are allowed in industrial districts because they support the people work in industrial districts. It's nice to have their daycare facilities nearby. The industrial use does not support residential dwelling units in it. So it would need to be rezoned to accommodate the proposed kind of apartments for the elderly. Now, what we're showing here is that for the last 10 years, the city has been anticipating the transition of this area from industrial to higher intensity residential uses. So transitioning from generally either 2 or 3 family to multifamily, including senior housing, specifically in the center. To the gentleman's last point, it was historically industrial, but that has not been for the last 10 years the long-term plan that the city has adopted for this area.
Okay.
And so the proposed rezoning is in conformance with what the long-range plans are trying to achieve.
So I'm to understand that a residential zoning allows for assisted living?
The R3 does, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. Does it open it up to other types of, what do I want to say? More typical apartment dwellings, or?
It could.
Okay.
It could. And again, that has been kind of slated for the area to transition from industrial to varying residential types, including and specifically senior housing.
Okay.
So-
The short-term vision, though, for this is assisted living. I mean, and
That's what the
intent of
property
this-
owner is supporting. He's not looking to raise the building and do anything else. He's looking to convert the use from daycare to this, it's not really assisted living, but Facilities more medical than what this is.
Okay.
Quasi-independent living, I guess.
Yeah, okay. Thanks.
Right. Okay, thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak, provide public comment about this proposed rezoning?
I was going to ask a question. The reason you were looking down the road to rezone this, was that because of the fact that it was for a long time vacant and there was nothing happening there? Or was something that, I mean, if it's being occupied now and maybe fully occupied at some point, is this go away or
No-
are
no
you
one's-
still?
Yeah, no one's pushing anyone out. I don't want you to think that. Those uses, it's still zoned industrial. Those industrial uses can continue to operate there. But if someone was to acquire property and wants to redevelop it, this is what the city has been
Oh,
looking
okay.
to redevelop it as. But the city is not forcing anyone's hand here as a property owner. We are trying to be accommodating. It's something that will happen over the long term. Redevelopment takes a long time, and it is all about timing. So as long as the adjacent lands are still viable, the city's not pushing anyone out. But long-term, industrial, especially heavy industrial, is not intended for this area. And again, that's based on the comprehensive plan and the redevelopment plan, both adopted by the Plan Commission and the council.
Okay,
That could change tomorrow if they chose to change plans, but.
Planning commissioners, we're still in public hearing. We're still taking public comment. Anyone who has public comments about this proposed rezoning, and to state your name and address for the record.
Hi, I'm Jay Lang from the Lang Group. I'm the listing agent on the property that's requested for rezoning, and I'm also the listing agent for the city's industrial park and other properties that the city owns. I just want to clarify the question. When he was talking about the 50% occupancy, the current property that's being rezoned, which was a daycare, it's owned by Anchor Bank. It's a foreclosure property. 100% vacant, been empty, probably approaching 2 years right now. And so the bank has, just been trying to find somebody to take it over, as a use. So that's the only rezone right now that's on the table, just, for clarity. That's it. There's no, it's an empty building that I have to go in every week just to make sure nothing's leaking, nothing's been broken into, that's all heated. And, it was a daycare, and to a great extent, it's a pretty similar use. You're not going to see much of a difference from the outside really at all. Maybe they'll move a chain link fence or so where there won't be outdoor children's play equipment. But that's really, about it. And it's the one that sits, again, directly across from the park, so.
You have plans to expand this too, correct?
No, it's not changing at all. The footprint stays the same. I think the only thing he's showing is maybe, is it the fence being changed a little bit, Dean?
Show an addition, proposed addition?
That's different.
No.
No?
No, you must be looking, I'm not sure what you're looking at.
Other one.
We're looking at chapter 2.
Yeah, that's chapter 2.
Actually, maybe
That's the same.
the building at one time had an addition put onto it, but there is not any addition being proposed now. So maybe that's what you're looking at. It's an L-shaped building. I think originally it
It says
was.
proposed addition.
Oh, that's true, it does. It says apartments here.
Oh, that's in the current footprint. That's in the current shell.
Oh, okay.
So that's what you're looking at is the current shell of the L-shaped building, and it just isn't
Open,
being.
you're going to make apartments.
Yeah, eventually, but no, that envelope is not changing whatsoever.
So how many residents would this involve?
I think 8.
8 units?
Yeah, it's pretty minor, all things considered. A lot of Mr. Belisari's clients live in town already, and it's kind of time for them to, I think he's hoping, but I can't speak for him all the way, is, they live in homes right now, and it would be just a little bit easier to help, care for them if they were together, and then they could have some common space, a little more socialization.
These are residents need a little additional care?
Thank you.
Okay, fine, thank you, Mr. Lang. Okay, we're still in public hearing. Does anyone else wish to provide comments for this proposed rezoning? Okay. Well, does anyone else wish to provide comments for the proposed rezoning? Okay. All right, hearing none further, I'll close the public hearing. We go then to discussion recommendation on zoning amendment request. Lake Mills Property Management LLC, general industrial to multifamily residential, parcel 24607131312, 020510 Owen Street. Planning Commissioners, we're now in discussion recommendations, so if you have, Mr. Baldessari is here for any questions you may have, and also Mr. Wolf may answer some questions too.
So this is for Dustin.
Yes.
How many facilities like this do we have already in Lake Mills and planned? Because I know we already went through this last year for one.
We did one, and we actually approved 2 buildings at that time. They've built one of them. There's a couple other smaller assisted living facilities around. It's interesting, your demographics, you have over 15% of your population is over the age of 65. I'm not saying it's alarming, but that's a lot compared to a lot of communities. And, you have, like everybody, you have an aging population. They want to live in town. And, this was an underutilized facility and is in keeping with what the city has planned for the area. So I can't give you a definitive number of you have
No, that's-
14 of those.
Yeah,
We don't usually
that's
track them in
okay.
that way, yeah. You do have the larger retirement complex over by the middle school. What's that?
Pine Street.
Yeah, on Pine. I always forget the name of it, I'm sorry.
This could be further expanded too, correct? With the area and
What?
enough area.
It could. Still remember under the new zoning code, they still have green space requirements, so they do have to maintain a certain amount of green space. Certainly the setback requirements. Across the street is everything from single family to duplexes to 4 families. So this really isn't out of line with, and in truth, it's less intensive than a 4-plex because you don't have a lot of cars coming and going from this versus something that's a 4-plex. So it's a pretty innocuous use in its location.
I guess the only question I would have is about noise, and obviously not from the loud parties they're going to throw, but from the other industrial that we do have there. Is that going to end up coming back and causing some issues from Ryan's and from your properties?
Well, Mr. Person's property is a lot of cold storage. It's not manufacturing going on there. I'm kind of looking at him to kind of confirm that. Correct. You have the metals on the other side of him, so they're, I wouldn't say intensive, but
Minimal.
But I don't think from the distance you're gonna run into it. Ryan's Auto is a auto repair shop.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's noise associated with it, but I don't think it's gonna be any louder than cars traveling down Owen. I guess staff didn't foresee noise as being an issue from the adjacent activities.
Thank you.
Okay. Planning Commissioners, any other comments, any questions? Well, if no one speaks, then I'm going to look at the motion and see if anyone wants to make a motion regarding the prepared motion here.
I would move for passage of Plan Commission Motion 15-4-1 for a zoning amendment.
I would second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there discussion on the motion to pass this motion 15-4-1? Okay. All right, hearing none, then we'll proceed with roll call vote.
Ms. Lazarus?
Aye.
Mr. Magnuson?
Aye.
Mr. Schwark?
Aye.
Mr. Foster?
Aye.
Motion passed 4-0.
You didn't ask Mr. Pearson.
Mr. Pearson has a conflict of interest, so he has to recuse himself
all
on
right.
this subject.
Okay, all right, very good. Let the record show that he has abstained. He recused himself from the voting. All right, very well. All right, we go on to item number 7, public hearing zoning amendment request, Chapter 2 Incorporated, General Industrial, I-1 to Planned Industrial PI, parcel 246 0713 1313 020 305 South CP Avenue. We have, Planning Commissioners, we have in front of us the motion 1542. This motion sets forth the statutory authority for zoning, and the city zoning code refers to the request for zoning amendment by Chapter 2 Incorporated 305 South CP Avenue, actually to fix, as it were, a split zoning situation where the property has both general industrial and planned industrial zoning, to propose that the rezoning occur such that the whole thing is zoned planned industrial. That sets forth the city's review and tonight's public hearing. The motion does provide for a Plan Commission recommendation to approve the rezoning from I-1 General and Manufacturing to PI Planned Industrial pursuant to the findings of fact and requirements noted in the planner's memo. And before we start the public hearing, I'll refer to Mr. Wolf for presenting the proposal.
Thank you. I think you had a really nice summary. Betsy's put up the public notice, and it shows kind of the detail of all the properties. This is a historically platted area. It's a little convoluted to look at the platting and try to understand what's going on there. If you see where the star is, and you see I kind of drew a red line. To the left of the red line is the sliver that's really being rezoned. The remainder of the property has the planned industrial zoning. The petitioners have been expanding their activities. We can't have split zoning on a property. They went through a CSM process previously. The code doesn't allow for split zoning. So this really is kind of cleaning up the map, so to speak. The long-range plan, comprehensive plan, illustrates this area for industrial activities. So this is in keeping with that designation. It's certainly something that the city wants to encourage. Is growth of industrial development in this area, and then again to the east and south, which is the industrial park itself. Trying to make sure I touched on all the key issues. The land use is consistent with what's around it. There are other industrial activities around it, and there is warehousing, which is generally the St. Vincent de Paul site. It's kind of warehousing of, let's see, kind of the key findings that we find. The proposed PI district zoning for the property conforms to the goals expressed in Chapter 3, the land use chapter of the adopted comprehensive plan. Development is compatible with the city's intent for businesses employing a high number of persons in the industrial and business park, and for users that are high consumers of public utilities. So those are very express things outlined in the comprehensive plan. So staff finds that it meets the findings and recommends the rezoning.
All right, very well. All right, thank you, Mr. Wolf. The public hearing is open. Is there anyone here who represents Chapter 2? Okay. All right. Is there anyone who wishes to make public comment concerning the requested rezoning? Are there any public comments concerning the requested rezoning? All right. Hearing none, we close the public hearing. We go to item number 8, discussion recommendation on zoning amendment request. Chapter 2, general industrial to planned industrial parcel 2460713, 1313020, 305 South CP Avenue. Plan Commissioners, we are in discussion and recommendation. Are there any comments or questions, Commissioners, on this item?
Just it's a cleaning up of a property.
It really is, yes. Does anyone wish to make a motion at this time?
I move to accept as is.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to recommend approval according to motion 1542. Is there any further discussion? Okay, not hearing any, then we'll proceed with roll call vote.
Mr. Magnuson?
Aye.
Mr. Schwark?
Aye.
Mr. Pearson?
Aye.
Mr. Foster?
Aye.
Ms. Lazarus?
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
All right, very well. Item number 9 was scheduled as the public hearing for the Robert Mangan request. However, that is not going to take place this evening. The item is not prepared for a public hearing at this time. And when it is, it will be renoticed as a public hearing. So 9 and 10 have been removed that way from the agenda, in which now we come to item number 11, recommendations for future agendas. And I remember that from the past, we still had the engaging youth, and we can put that back on
Oh,
the
yeah, that would
May
be good.
calendar if you like.
Yeah, the last I spoke on that with Pam Strike, she had all the kids picked out for that. So
Okay.
it looked like it was a real kind of an exciting thing. So we're gonna have to do that soon before school lets out, I would think. Or wait till the following fall.
All right. Shall we put that on the agenda for the next time?
Let's do
Or
that.
did you have, okay, very
Yeah,
well.
because we don't have Mr. Lynch. And I'd like to have his input since it was his idea.
Yeah.
You want to have a mock
Well-
plan commission meeting?
Right, and I think what we should do is probably come up with some sort of a situation for him to work out
Okay.
and let them figure it out themselves.
Yeah.
When I was gone in January there, I had the opportunity to watch one on a local channel
Okay.
of a council meeting. And they had the council members kind of coaching them, leading them through. They had a mock thing to pass judgment on. That was kind of neat.
Cool.
Okay. Well, we'll put that back
We
on the
can certainly
agenda.
do something. I have enough examples from other communities, like development plans from other communities. We can remove the name, but
That'd be awesome.
I wouldn't want to use one in your own community, but, and I certainly wouldn't want to use one that has the name of another community
Right,
on it.
right.
But it does provide them with, plats and development plans and such, and then they can walk through and say, well, they can talk broad brushstroke. What do they like? What do they not like? The land use, the intensity, the
Right.
roadway connections.
Right.
Parks
Somebody
needs.
guiding them as they're
Oh,
going through the
absolutely.
steps and actually taking a vote then, too.
Yes, absolutely. And arguing for and against. You have some of them act as a
Right,
developer. and
have some of them for and some of them against,
You
and
kind of give them a primer sheet on what's good about the project and what's not good about the project.
that'd be great.
So
That sounds wonderful.
we can
I'll
certainly
get
do
together
that.
with you, Mr.
We can find some time to do that, yes.
All right, sir.
Okay.
Sounds like a lunch.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, that sounds great. We'll have that on the agenda for May then. Wonderful.
I'll just go forward with it if, it seems like Peter Lynch has been really swamped here, so.
Yeah, yeah.
But let's move forward with it so that we
Yeah.
can get something going.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. Good. Anything else coming up in May that we should be aware of now?
I don't think in May, but likely in June, you will have the update to the park plan.
Oh,
Oh, good.
all right, very good. All right, well, wonderful. Okay, well, that brings us now to item number 12, adjournment.
No, thanks.
So move.
It's been moved. Is there a
Second.
second? And seconded. Any discussion on this? All right, in that case, the meeting is adjourned.
Yeah, let's discuss